Well, welcome back to the Former Critics Podcast, the place where we talk about all things entertainment
We're
from
still
the
doing this shit.
yeah, from the lens of a former critic. And welcome back.
By the way, shout out. This is, I believe, our eighth episode of this podcast, which
Oh
means that we
shit.
are officially the longest running podcast in history.
Should we do something big for the 10th episode?
No, it's not a milestone.
I mean, yeah. I mean it
I,
could
I
be. It
think.
could be. I'm
I
gonna
mean, I
get
guess
it.
for our standards and our pace so far, sure, yeah,
I'm gonna get like balloons and put them up and unblur the background.
yeah. Yep, you can do that. I'm sure there's a balloon filter on Zoom that I could use.
You're right. Um, well, today we're talking about Jane Schoenberg, I think is how you say her name.
Ever
And
heard of her? Up and
yeah.
coming director.
And yeah, this we're gonna be talking about the couple of movies and then an extra movie that we watched recently, right? You know?
Is it a surprise? I mean,
Yeah,
they'll
should
read the
we leave it?
description.
Yeah.
No, it's fucking I used to be funny.
Well, how have you been? Tell our listeners. I'm just kidding.
No, I've been good. I think like the three movies that we saw for today,
Yeah.
two of my favorite movies of the year that I've seen so far, and then one that I'm like completely like meh on, like completely like mid to me. Um, I
Which
bet you
one's
can guess
that?
which is which. I
Is
think okay, I think everyone's going to the World's Fair, or whatever the title is
yeah.
like a beta version of I Saw the TV Glow, which is one of my favorite movies that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I feel like they have a lot of the same themes. Oh,
Yeah.
similar themes. And I feel like both of the movies are pretty personal for the director. It seems that way at least with some
They
of like
definitely are. Like we'll
commentary.
definitely get into it. They're both about like her childhood and like her seeming to grow up in like isolation via technology
Yeah,
or media or something like that.
right.
But should we start with World's Fair since that's her first one?
Yeah. Yeah, let's
And we
do
can ramp up to the big kahuna
it.
that is I Saw the TV Glow, which is so amazing and I'm so excited to talk about it.
Right.
Um
What was that like? What's like the synopsis of that movie of World's Fair?
Everyone's coming to the World's Fair. I also like don't even know the title. It's like everyone is going to the World's Fair or something.
Everyone, everywhere, all at once. No,
Yeah.
it's we're all going to the World's Fair.
There you Yep. We're off to a good start. Eighth episode vibes. We already have
Right.
senioritis. We're such pros at this.
This you can tell that we're former critics,
We're such forward critics. Um,
you know.
okay.
We actually like some.
We're yeah. We're all
Yeah.
going to the World's Fair is literally about a girl in her attic, like extremely socially isolated for reasons I'm not entirely sure on.
Right.
But she's seemingly looking for connection by playing this like weird underground like ARG like augmented reality game kind of
Yeah.
thing. Throwback to the Cloverfield ARG that we talked about
Yeah.
with the Lord Dump. Um, and it's kind of like a role-playing thing where she's like, if you like, I guess, prick your finger and do like a crazy dance in front of your screen and then like have lights flash in your face, then
Yeah.
you'll go to the World's Fair or something like that, like whatever that means.
Right.
But it's a little creepy and like I think the movie is mostly about like okay, so she signed up for this thing. We see like clips of people who have done it like previously and participated in this game and like weird
Yeah.
outcomes that they've experienced. Like what is she going through? Like are these symptoms and like kind of like not really realistic
Yeah,
experiences that she's having. How real
true.
are they? Is she crazy? What the heck's going on, guys?
I mean, honestly, um, like, and you didn't like that one as
I
much?
think I would have liked it if I hadn't already seen I Saw the TV Glow.
Oh, right, you watched that after?
Yeah, because
Oh
I
my
saw TV
gosh.
Glow in like theaters, like when it came
Right.
out like a month ago or whatever, and then I just saw World's Fair like this week.
True.
Um,
True.
but yeah, I'm sorry to say it very much underwhelmed me considering what I like my expectations going into it.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely can see that. And I didn't like I gave it a 3.5 out of 5, so I didn't love We're All Going to the World's Fair, but I thought it was like we saw it from a screener from Utopia. And they like it felt like innovative and new at the time because like no one was really making that kind of like those kinds of movies or like about that like topic, I guess.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it seems like with that movie and I saw the TV Glow, like um Jane, the director, like kind of has like made their own genre of like movies. You know what I mean?
I see it. I
It's like
see it.
almost like in their own little corner of the internet.
Yeah, I think like we talked about commonalities between the movies,
Yeah,
like I said, very much about like a childhood growing up with like I don't know anything about her biographically, but like she must have
right.
like been isolated AF and like she must have like
Yeah.
she, just didn't feel at home and like her like wherever she grew up is what I'm inferring because at least she injects that into her characters like so thoroughly that it feels like it has to come from like a personal place.
And
Um,
like gender identity too, I think.
yeah. Though
Like
I
both
didn't get
ways.
too much about gender identity in World's Fair unless I'm
R-
ignorant.
Well, no, I just feel like there's like undertones, especially like after watching I Saw the TV Glow.
Yeah.
And then kind of like thinking back on it, I feel like I remember kind of like undertones in that movie where they were kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Like, because, where you were talking about how they like didn't like, I don't know, growing up and kind of feeling lost, I guess,
Yeah.
and kind of escaping through this game. And I saw the TV Glow escaping through like lost media and like old TV shows from your childhood.
Very much movies about what it's like to grow up on the internet, which is like,
Yeah,
and it's so funny that like the first like true experience, like movie experiences we have, like portrayed as such like a chilling and isolating experience.
true.
Throwback to us growing up, like literally doing 90% of our socialization over AIM, and
Literally.
remember Omegle, like we were just on that every day.
Yeah. I mean, literally. Um, these I feel like I forgot what I was gonna say.
Whoa,
Oh no,
unprofessional.
right, dead air, dead air. I wanted to bring up um the director has like this other project that I don't think like I think like a few people have seen, but I'm not sure if everybody, I don't think like it was like fully released and it became lost media. And I feel like I saw the TV Glow kind of like took the concept of that and like brought it into that movie. Because
Yeah,
like
what's it called?
they made this like I forget. Oh, it's called a self-induced hallucination.
Sounds like Jane, all right.
Yeah. It came out in 2018, but I guess like people have logged it at least, but I feel like well, I mean, I remember reading that there was a lot of talk that like this movie became like lost media, and I
Yeah.
guess like the movie itself like kind of plays on the idea of lost media. So I feel
Hmm.
like that kind of took, I feel like they kind of took the you know, like those themes and brought it into,
Yeah, they definitely love Lost Media, especially because like even the World Fair, like it's named
yeah,
after like an old game, which like as far as I can
yeah,
tell, it's just a typing game like you would play in like second grade or whatever. Whenever
Right.
kids learn how to type these days, preschool. Um,
Right.
yeah. So what I don't
Remember
like,
typing class? Did you ever have to do that?
I was so good at it because I was already so like terminally online. I remember like looking around, like talk about like feeling socially isolated growing up, Jane. I remember looking around typing class and being like, are these kids like not spending like their entire social life on the computer? I was like, why does it take them so long to spell the
Literally.
word like quick brown fox or whatever?
Literally. And then it was just like us, like every single
Yeah,
day, just spending all night
I
long
know. We're
just
just like out
talking.
typing the teacher. Yeah, talk about like, complete dysmorphia.
Oh my God.
That's truly how I relate to these movies is typing class in like seventh grade. Um,
Liminal. It's very liminal.
it was yeah, liminal. This World Fair is
Yeah,
super liminal, and like I don't fully like I maybe missed it, but like I feel like I missed like key context about like why she was so isolated. I
right,
think early on in the movie, she or someone, like we learned through some form of media that she had had like a psychotic break.
right,
And I think she spent like a little bit in like a mental hospital or whatever. And she's kind of like just out now and left to her own devices. There's snow on the ground, so maybe it's winter
right.
break, but I feel like the movie takes place over like an extended period of time, like longer than a
Yeah,
winter break would be. So I guess she's not going to school. And like, I think a key theme and like a pretty good piece of storytelling here was like her dad is clearly like kind of like neglectful, which
right.
again, like that's a commonality, that's a parallel, and I saw the TV glow because we literally hear like one line from the dad when he's like it's 3 a.m. and she's like blasting like music or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the only time we like he has like any presence in the movie until like kind of toward the end. Spoiler alert, where she's like I know I have to shoot my dad or whatever, like with his gun that he when he was in the shed.
Yeah. And I feel like that movie like had a lot of themes that they were trying to touch on. Like the movie itself was trying to like hint at like isolation, like you were saying, and feeling lost and like also like the game terminally online kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it was like trying to hint at that, but I feel like the movie itself like lacked a little bit in execution and storytelling. Like there was like a lot of parts where like it felt like more like they were just trying to go for vibes
Yeah.
over like the actual um cohesive story, which I felt like in I saw the TV glow, it felt like they finally like actually had like a story to tell, you know?
No, you're so correct. Because I just remember like there's a scene where she like can't sleep or whatever, and she like walks out
Yeah,
to the shed and there's like a projector there and she watches like ASMR of like some
right.
weirdo being like, go to bed. Shh. Which by the
Yeah.
way, that clip we should paywall that. Cut that out. We're gonna put that on our Patreon. That's our first piece of content. You're not getting that for free, psycho.
Right.
Anyway.
I just cut that out. It's just you yelling that.
He's just like I don't even know what that would look like. Um, I'm completely derailed. No, but that then like so she's like watching like some like freak like on a projector just saying
Yeah,
just telling her to go to bed for like and the scene just keeps going and I'm like I get it. Like I
right.
get it. Like
Yeah.
I like my ADHD brain is like my hand is like literally twitching toward my phone, Jane, and like I don't want that to be happening, but like 30 seconds too long is like an immense cavern to cover in like a movie when you are an ADHD kid.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. And I feel like we're all going to the World's Fair. I don't know. There's this movie called Brick by Ryan Johnson. Have you ever heard of it?
Of course I have.
Have you seen it?
I did back in like college or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it's an older like from like 2004, 2005.
I remember
Um,
I was getting like hyped for Looper, and I was like, "Ugh."
I
By the way, put Looper on the list. We're gonna talk about Looper one episode.
right.
Put it on the
Okay,
list.
what I think I hated that movie.
Well, good. We'll have
Um,
some good content.
but the it, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because that movie like has like this weird, it's almost set in like a weird alternate reality where like the kids of the town are like they are also really isolated, but like because they're kind of like in this like isolated Midwest town, but they're like in this weird reality where they kind of run the town. Like the one kid's like a drug kingpin or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Same.
and then there was like a scene where like they pick up Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He just gets in it gets in their van and he's like looking at the one kid and there's just like a lamp inside of the van. Iconic scene, by the way, but I just
Wait,
think
why
that
is that
like
iconic? Why was there a lamp there?
I don't know. It's just like well, the reason why I was saying that is because I feel like that movie also had like narrative issues,
Yeah.
but kind of had like the same theme, well, similar themes, like with isolation and also like a weird, maybe slight alternate reality to like our own reality and like
Yeah.
playing with the two. You know what I mean?
By the way, I just like completely have not seen this movie. Like I know what it is, but like I'm realizing now, like I have no memory of what you're talking about. So I'll put that on the list.
I
But no,
think it's
it
good.
sounds good.
Ashley hated it, but
Oh, well,
yeah, I don't know.
fuck.
It's but I also think like I can see where people are saying like that movie also has like narrative issues and maybe it's like more about like the vibe of the movie or like the feeling it's giving you. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's what also where they were going with we're all going to the World's Fair.
I think ultimately like the movie just needed a little more substance. I think like
Right.
it's already a really short movie, but it ran on like a very limited number of ideas that it just
Right.
didn't like it could have just used like one extra plot beat or one more like layer of complication to it than what it had because like especially in the beginning scene, which is like just one take of like her like recording herself on her
Yeah.
cam and she's like oh or whatever like and as like the light is like glowing and like
Right.
she saw the laptop glow and like
Right.
she's doing this weird ceremony. I was literally like, I was so on edge in that scene, which was like the best part of the movie for me because I kept expecting like there to be like a creepy thing in like the corner,
Yeah, totally.
like Mr. Melancholy or like his little sidekicks or whatever.
Right.
But none to be seen. And I feel like as I kind of went through and realized what the movie was, I was like, this is so good for what it is. But I have a precedent that I went into this movie for, and it ended up letting me down just because of that subjective experience.
True. No, I definitely agree. And if you watch I Saw the TV Glow before this, like you'll definitely feel that way. I do enjoy and I'm happy that Utopia films or Utopia movies are like picking up these like weird out of the box um movies and giving them a chance.
Yeah,
Like we're all
definitely.
going to the World's Fair, like probably would never have like gotten a chance unless like a studio like picked it up and put it out, you know. And
Yeah,
they've been doing that
sorry.
lately.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I feel like I'm being overall negative about it, which is like a shame because like it still is a good movie. Like it's really well told. It's like again,
Right.
like I think it's probably one of the best movies that I've seen. Not that I've seen like too many, but just about like growing what it's like to grow up online and not having like an in-person social circle and like her closest
Yeah,
friend being like, I guess the equivalent of like the dungeon master of this game and it's just like this guy who like
true.
he kind of runs the game from his house and very little is told
Yeah,
about his story and like he's seemingly isolated himself but like we kind of get his perspective on interacting with the main character and he's kind of like oh she's not playing the game anymore. Like I gotta like
right.
and how he kind of like navigates that the social digital
True,
situation.
true,
So
true.
it's still really good. Still absolutely worth a watch if you have like HBO and you're in the US or whatever.
True, true. Um, I definitely, I didn't overall love it, but it's there. I think it works, and I think it's like there's a lot of people that complain about not having like original movies anymore, and I feel like that's one of them. If you want to go check out something
Yeah.
original and different.
Check it out. Plus, it paved the way for I saw the TV glow.
Yeah.
Why did I like yell that? That was like so weird. For some reason, I like thought you were gonna join in, and then now I'm like, of course he would. Of course you wouldn't.
I
Sorry, I'm
saw the
so emotional.
TV glow.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah.
So I saw the TV glow. You know?
I'm
Um,
speechless. I don't know what to say. Anyway,
what did you well, actually no, we should start out with what it's about, obviously.
what is it about? You tell me this time.
Um, well, it kind of follows the story of a kid who is trying to like go back and like revisit this old TV show from his childhood, from their childhood. And they're trying to like see, like, they remember it being extremely scary growing up. And then they're trying to see if it still is scary. But the movie also has like, and that's basically like, to me at least, like, is like the main, like, on the surface plot.
Yeah.
But there's like, you have to like kind of dig deeper in this movie, I think, to like kind of get grasp like a lot of the themes that are going on. But it's not that hard. Like I saw some people actually complaining that this movie is like was too hard to understand.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm
Yuck.
just I'm just like confused. Like I was telling Ashley, I was like, I feel like this is like not that hard to grasp. Like the
Yeah.
concepts of like what's happening.
I mean, it demands like constant attention, but also like
Right.
it earns it. And take it
Yeah.
from me, someone who's distracted like with the same velocity as a squirrel.
I mean,
You know,
honestly.
like this movie is so good.
Yeah. Were you
Just kidding.
expecting it to like be that? Actually, you know what was weird is that before you answer that, Ash, when we were watching this, I literally was like, Logan likes this movie. Like, I feel like I feel like the movie was like too strange for you to like enjoy.
I am like actually offended right now.
I was like, you
Like
like these like
you
strange
triggered me.
liminal movies?
Okay, listen, there is a difference between I saw the TV glow and Gummo. Let's make that very clear. What like I think I mean I don't know.
I mean, I was
What
just
is the
joking, but
difference? I know. I'm
you're
just like,
being
you know
mad.
what? This is our eighth and final episode because I can't handle this.
This is just tears us apart.
Yeah, something that like for the fans, since we have so many fans now, just so you know, like about like 1/8 of the video is like about like 1/8 of what we record is like the actual video. Like the other percentage is us just like fucking screaming at each other. And like every
I
time like we say something the other doesn't like, we just like scold them and
I
pause the recording.
I was just like I don't know. I was watching it and I thought it was like I don't know. It just like I was like this is like I feel like when you're always like, oh, I'm going to like see movies and they're like more mainstream, you know?
I see mainstream movies and I have an appreciation for them, which
Yeah.
you don't,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah. But
But
I
I
just felt
also,
like I felt like you never really gravitate towards a movie like this.
um, no, mm-mm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe whatever. I just whatever. But I was
Yeah,
surprised that you enjoyed it so much.
yeah. Oh, shit, I just did something. Sorry. Um, no, I see both. Like I see a lot of mainstream movies, and I definitely see like more like indie movies like this.
Right.
Maybe I'll usually wait until like they're on streaming or something. Or maybe not. You never know with me, but I can go both ways.
Oh yeah, I know you're just like upset now that I brought that up.
I'm just like stormy and pissed for the rest of the episode.
Well, how did you feel while like watching the movie?
Euphoric and terrified.
Right.
Um, no, this movie is literally it's so good. So it's like yeah, like your summary was good. Just to add to it, like it's continuing the same theme as World Fair, where it's like these two like
Yeah.
completely antisocial kids, and they're like social outcasts, and like they barely want to acknowledge like their companionship with each other. It feels like there's like a lot like what reads to me at least is like as unspoken tension between them, like toward the beginning,
Right.
but. I interpret it now as just like they're kind of like really hesitant to open themselves up to each other because,
Right.
assumingly they've been like burned in the past and like don't just have many like friends or companions or anything like that. So they find, like a shared joy and fascination with this show, which I'm literally forgetting what the show is called. I'm such a
The,
fake fan.
the pink opaque.
Thank you. Thank you. You saved me. The Pink Opaque, and it's just like it's a super 80s like it reminds me
Yeah.
of like Are You Afraid of the Dark or something. I wish there was like a
Right.
better comparison because it's like it's very more conceptual than telling a story, but it's just like random shots of like these girls and they go to a summer camp and they're like, oh, by the way, like together we can access like this new plane of existence that's like trying to destroy reality, and there's like a new monster each week,
Right.
and like it's just such an amazing aesthetic of like it's so campy and 80s,
Right.
but it's also like really creepy. And there's like this ice cream monster toward the beginning,
Yeah.
and he's like hilarious, and then he starts to melt, and then you see like how disaster like how scary and monstrous he is.
Yeah.
Um yeah, it's so
I,
good, dude.
I
It's
like how
so
they
good.
like play on the themes of like the movie or when you're watching like an old show or an old movie that maybe scared you growing up and you go back and you rewatch it and it's kind of like not like that. Like they kind of played with that a little bit where like it later on in the movie he like goes back and rewatches it and it's like really childish and like outdated. And
Yeah.
I definitely relate to that a lot. So like I can feel like I can see like why like a lot of people resonate with that part of it.
Me with Invader Zim.
Oh, right.
No, I actually like that's a genuine experience that I did have is like I found out Invader Zim was on like Hulu or like some streaming service that I had, and I watched
Right.
like an episode. Like this was like last year, by the way, and I was like, oh, okay, like best to leave this to my childhood memories and like let's pack this away. Not quite what I remember it being, but how I interpret it as, and like I kind of like have some personal like relationship to this is like I feel it's about kids who like they're clearly like they don't feel themselves, and like a lot of it is like sexuality and like gender
Right.
identity like growing up, but in lieu of like their own social lives or like their own like living their own lives, I feel like they kind of turn to this this media to like
Yeah,
project
exactly.
and like live vicariously through it, um which like for any number of reasons like kids can do that, and like I think especially now as like we've been talking about like pretty consistently, like there's so much technology now, like it's
Yeah.
so much easier for kids to become isolated and like not build like this social network that is like kind of essential to like growing up and like living a balanced life. I just like started
Yeah.
talking about like the importance of like having friends, the power of friendship. um no, but it's like,
Yeah.
I think it's about kids who like don't have that growing up. They're maybe in an area that they don't relate to, and again, like
Yeah.
there's a weird lack of parents, and like the dad is like super isolated, and there's like the mom. Like at least we know
Yeah,
what happens to the mom this
exactly.
time. She dies like pretty early. Um, but yeah, they find the companionship. And what I truly love about this movie is like it takes that idea of like latching on to like media in your childhood and like take like making it such a central part of yourself because there's nothing else in your life. And then like
Yeah.
turning that on its head, and like the big twist of the movie, like again, spoilers,
Right.
is like, his friend comes back. Um, the one who kind of introduced him to the Pink Opaque or like gave him a way to watch it. And she's like, by the way, that was real. That was us. The reality that
Yeah.
we're living in now is fake. We
Right.
have to accept, we have to like puke up, they call it like Luna juice. They're like, we
Yeah.
have to puke up this Luna juice that we've been fed to, so we can get back to real reality. Because right now, like what we're in now is the nightmare.
Exactly.
And it's just so metaphorical because it's the nightmare because like Justice Smith is the main actor,
Yeah.
best known for his work in Detective Pikachu. So like kind of crazy career
Right.
jump. Um, but he like literally never accepts what it can be like strongly inferred as like his gender identity, you know? And I think
Exactly.
he
Exactly.
never really learned. I don't know if he ever even like knows it about himself truthfully, but he never accepted that in this reality. And then he's like, oh, well, maybe I have to do that to break into like the actual reality, which in this world is a TV show, you know? It's
Yeah.
so good. It's such an amazing take on that theme that,
I
yeah,
agree. And I feel like it's really relatable for a lot of people in this like newer age, like millennials and Gen Zers and especially like Gen Zers, but also millennials because I mean, it's like Gen Z because of like everything is like technology based. And I feel like this movie was like kind of leaning into that for like the
yeah,
modern audiences, but it was also like for like a millennial because of the fact that it was like, oh, here's like a 90s movie or a 90s TV show or something. And then you're like revisiting it later on. And that's kind of like our the timeline we grew up on. But
yeah,
and I thought it was like really cool with like the like they would like go back into school and then there was like writing on the screen, like text on the screen of like, oh, like this episode happened and it was about this and like you know what I'm talking about. And then they had like
yeah.
predictions, I think, of like what was gonna happen next. And I thought that was cool. I it felt like realistic, a realistic portrayal of like somebody who like watches something and has like friends at school and like goes to school and talks about it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and like I love that they conducted it all in secret for like,
Yeah,
whatever reason they felt was necessary, but like she like Justice Smith, like his dad, I guess, like wouldn't let him as a kid like watch the Pink Opaque because it was a show for
right.
girls. So
Yeah.
like they met one day, like he met this girl, and I'm sorry, I don't know the actress's name. She was great though. They met in high school, and like she's reading this book about the Pink Opaque, and like then she invites him over to her house to like watch it, and he has to go through
Right.
this whole thing of like lying to his parents and being like, I'm gonna go sleep over at this one guy's house, but then I'm gonna like run down the block and actually go to like my friend's house just so I can watch this TV show, you
Yeah.
know? So like in school, like she starts recording all the tapes on like VHS, and she'll like leave it in secret places, like the photo workshop, what's it called? Like the dark room where you develop
Y-
photos.
yeah. Like Red
Is
Room maybe or something like that.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Not our generation. Sorry, we have phones now.
Right. Oh my gosh. Um,
Yeah. And
but yeah.
she'll leave him a note, and she's like, by the way, like go to this room and like pick up the tape, and like then we can like discuss in secret. And it's like so hush hush, and you know, it's just it's such a vibe. It's so good.
Yeah, and I felt like I said earlier, I felt like this movie actually like took a lot of inspiration from we're all going to the World's Fair and like these newer ideas and concepts and actually flesh them out into like a cohesive narrative and story. So you can
Yeah.
like follow along, even though like you do have to like look into it and actually watch it and like look further than just like the surface storyline, the surface plot to kind of understand like where they're going with it. And I feel like it was like really telling when like I'm pretty sure it was Fred Durst's character is like the dad. Isn't he like the dad in the
I
movie?
think so. He's either the dad or Mr. Melancholy.
What a weird fucking like
Name him
role
more
for
I
it.
Name a more iconic duo than the dad and I think the TV or saw the TV glows and Mr. Melancholy.
But he like whoever that was, they were like you mentioned it like they were like, oh, that's a girls' show, and it's like that was like the moment where you're like, oh, it makes you like think a little bit more about the gender I and regular identity things and themes that they're trying to like portray, I guess.
The socialization of it all.
Yeah, and like they were really
Yeah.
trying to like it wasn't like I don't know. It just wasn't I thought it was really well done in like that aspect, and I feel like some people are overlooking it a little bit because they can't
Yeah.
see through like this surface plot.
I mean, it's weird to me. Like, I feel like I need to I feel like I need like government grant money to like interview these people and be like, what did you think the movie was about,
I mean,
sweetie?
literally.
Yeah,
Like go on Letterboxd and like scroll to like the bad reviews, the ones that gave this like a 1 star.
it's literally like so scary. Um, no,
That's
there's like,
liminal.
yeah, the 1 star review. On yeah. I think so. I'm actually trying to like avoid spoilers. Like we kind of we spoiled like what the main themes are. We didn't actually spoil like what happens because I think I want to encourage like as many people as possible to like
Right.
go see this movie. And by the way, I think like everything we said is like in the trailer.
I mean,
Um,
yeah.
at least like as far as the themes
I
go.
avoided it. I tried to like avoid trailers altogether now.
I saw the trailer like as a preview for like I forget what movie that I saw. Apparently a mainstream movie, you know.
Right.
And I was like, oh well, I'm just gonna go see that because it looks amazing. And like even visually, by the way, like World Fair kind of started this, but TV Glow like
Yeah.
perfects it. It's like every single frame there's like some sort of neon color on screen, like juxtaposed against
Yeah.
darkness. And it's like, like the thing that jumps out to me is like the glow in the dark chalk that says there is still time, which is
Mm.
like if I ever get a tattoo, like I might get something inspired by that because it's so amazing and it says so much.
Right.
Um, and it's just used so effectively, like in the movie itself.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a sequence like toward the end, or like I guess in the middle of the movie where like he starts questioning like the realities, and he's like, is the TV world real? Is this real? And
Yeah.
it just starts to blend the two kind of, and I won't go into more spoilers than that. It's like very climactic, I guess.
Right.
Um, but it's just done so well, and like I guess is it a horror movie? Because I think it's classified as a horror movie, but it's really not that scary until this exact scene, which is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my life. It's
But
stress-inducing.
isn't it like, I mean, I do see what you're saying, but also like couldn't I was kind of getting the aspect of like a whole new like idea of horror in the sense of like you're going back, the whole idea of you going back and like watching something you used to like and think that it was like really scary only to like realize it's nothing like what you used to perceive it as, and it's like something completely different, and you like have
Yeah.
all these like memories of it like being totally different than what it was. Like, isn't that kind of scary? Like,
The chill of the passage of time and
yeah, I don't,
realizing you're no longer the person, like the innocent child that you once were in this world. I say
I
this,
mean,
by the way, as someone who's turning 30 in like 5 days, just in case you're wondering where that came from.
I feel like that could be like the horror aspect because yeah, it's like not like on the surface, it's like not totally, like there's not like it's not a slasher or like there's not like jump scares or like
Yeah.
uh supernatural like paranormal stuff. It's just more like this is like we're going back, and I don't know. I felt like that was like the horror aspect to me.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. It is. It's like just like the whoa, like the realization of what these characters are like facing and going through.
Yeah,
It's not like there's no like oh, I'm scared moment in it until like I guess that scene that I was describing, but like it is
yeah,
like it's genuinely like unsettling and stressful to comprehend like the themes of the movie.
Yeah.
But also shout out to by the way, we keep saying like I keep saying like Mr. Melancholy. I guess he's kind of like the antagonist. He's like the bad guy in the Pink Opaque, like the main
Right.
antagonist of the TV characters are up against. He's literally just like this creepy moon. Like it's just like a the moon is like a face. And it's
Yeah.
like he's like so funny at first, and then it's like, whoa, we should be taking this guy a little bit more seriously. Anyway, he has like two helpers, I guess. I don't even know I don't remember what their names are, but they like have like beards that are like and hair
Yeah.
that like make them look like crescent moons, and they like when they're introduced, they just do this like really like choreographed dance together. That's like very
Right.
menacing, and I was just like that is seared forever in my brain. And I needed to give them a shout out for like the best monster design and introduction of 2024.
Right. What did you think of the soundtrack? That's what I was trying to ask.
Good, and that's
Yeah.
all I can say, but you are the soundtrack person.
Well, um, yeah, I mean I thought like the music that they put in it was effective. Um,
Yeah,
and we see Phoebe Bridgers on this soundtrack, and then she's also in the soundtrack for I Used to Be Funny.
because they're I
She's
forgot
actually
like
in this movie.
yeah, she's the one who's singing, right? Like they go to a bar and there's like a full band and like that's giving a
Yeah,
performance. There's like one song that's like "My heart is a broken claw machine" is like the lyrics, and like I still
right.
remember that. And it's like it's like trying to reach out and grab onto something, but it slips through every time.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I like to like yeah, I don't know. I just like the soundtrack. I thought it was
Yeah,
cool for this
no, the
type of movie.
soundtrack was good. You're right.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
I guess the movie is out on digital. I
Yeah.
am going to probably buy it and watch it and consume it again. And
Yep.
I can't say that about many movies like, like Interstellar. That can't have been the most recent time. I think I considered it for like Into the Spider-Verse and then it was like on something, so I just didn't.
Interstellar is coming back to IMAX for like a
Nice.
day or something. Actually, maybe longer than
Yeah, I should I should see that.
that. But yeah. What I saw
Literally
people shitting on Justice Smith for this movie. What did you think of his performance?
Justice Smith, I underestimated your game. I didn't know your game, and like I thought Detective Pikachu was like the pinnacle of human performance, but just
Right.
kidding. Like he was fine in that. I don't know. Like he was in
Right.
Jurassic World. I always liked him. He was in Dungeons and Dragons, and
Right.
he
You like that
brings
this?
this. Dungeons and Dragons is a really good movie. Sorry, too mainstream for you, but yeah, it's actually it's good.
What the fuck? Right.
No, yeah, he's a mainstream movie who like or mainstream actor who
Actor,
like
yeah.
I'm sure he has more credentials than like just this. I'm sure he's done like a few other things,
Yeah.
but yeah, I underestimated your game, Justice. I know you're listening, and I'm saying this directly to you. I'm sorry.
Right. We're gonna have to add that into the description. Logan apologizes to
We're so
Justice.
sorry, Justice Smith.
Um, but yeah. So I don't know, I really liked this movie. I thought it was definitely one of the better movies that has come out this year so far.
It's the best. Name a better one. Five, four, three, two. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
honestly, I don't know because we just watched The Strangers Chapter 1,
Okay, I thought you were gonna say that was
and
better for a second.
that was horrible. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, it's a little too mainstream for you, don't you think?
Right.
Gagged him. All right, I'll stop with my one repeated joke.
Oh my gosh. Shall we move on to the next movie? I Used to Be Funny.
Perfectly describes me.
Right. Which, like I said, has Phoebe Bridgers on the soundtrack. And this one is like heavily Phoebe Bridgers soundtrack.
Yeah, I didn't
The,
realize that.
the last one, it was like she's like sprinkled in, but this one was like she had like three songs or two or two or three. I don't know. She had the ending song, so
Yeah.
most important one.
If it wasn't for I Saw the TV Low, I think that this movie would be like in contention for my favorite movie of the year so far. I mean, I think
Right.
it was released like earlier in like festivals, but like it's I saw it in 2024, so it's
Yeah.
2024 to me.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
surprised it took so long to come out because it was like on our radar for a while.
yeah, it was in mine too. And actually, I think it was purely based on the fact that it starred Rachel Sennott. I don't think
Yeah.
I saw a trailer or like genuinely like knew what it was about.
Yeah, honestly.
But it just does this thing that I love when movies do, and it's just like this is the power of like an amazing script where it just took like an extremely topical topic. This is like
Yeah.
it mentions this is like a few things. This is like, like women in comedy and how they're treated, and like I guess like tangentially like the tail ends of like the peak of the Me Too movement, which is say
Right.
it's not like still an ongoing thing, but like it's definitely not as discussed as it was.
Right.
Um, like and it tells a story that like blends those two themes and like
True.
shows the impact of like, Rachel Sennett is like a female like former comedian who like, got
Right.
involved in a scandal, like spoke up and then, like just essentially lost her career um
Yeah.
because of it. And because like she had like jokes like kind of related to the topic beforehand, like people like didn't take her seriously and like, people like were trying to use that as
Yeah.
evidence on like a legal standpoint even. Um and we just like we follow like exactly what happened, which by the way, we should not mention what it is because I think that we shouldn't spoil that. Like we should definitely leave it
Yeah.
to the audience to discover because I strongly recommend going to see this movie.
True.
But I do love I think my favorite part of this movie was like it was almost structured as a mystery. Like we don't know what happened at the very beginning.
Yeah.
We obviously know something terrible happened. We don't know what, and we're given like very kind of eclectic pieces of like okay, like here's the mental state she's in. Here's her relationship
Yeah.
with this character now versus 5 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it kind of builds to that. And like for me, like I could kind of guess what happened like halfway through, I would say. Like it wasn't a shock, but like the
Yeah.
ramp up to it was so good.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it kept like going back and forth between like timelines. Which I don't know, like sometimes like I don't really like when movies do that too often, but I felt it was pretty effective in this one because they
Yeah.
were like kind of jumping between showing her like you said, like the relationships with whoever, and then as the plot like progresses and it like gets more and more heavy as it's going on, and then you kind of like start unraveling like what's happening and like
Yeah.
what's really bothering her, I guess, you know, like eating away. It's because it's kind of like eats away her like the whole movie.
Yeah, no, it's powerful writing. Like you said, like the
Yeah,
before and after, like the two different timelines was really effective here. I don't think the movie would have like really worked if it wasn't structured this way. Um, but yeah, just really good stuff. And this is like probably Rachel Sennett's like meatiest role that I've seen her in.
right,
I saw her in Shiva Baby, which is like her Uncut Gems. Did I pronounce
right.
that correctly, by the way?
Shiva baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, edit that part out. I just don't want to like it's yeah, you can't never be too careful.
Canceled. I'm just kidding.
Um, yeah, so like I saw her in like Shiva
Yeah.
Baby and like that's actually like obviously like a really like big role for her, but this is just like serious like, emotional weight and like her character is, going through like PTSD and experiencing that and she's
Yeah.
like in a really bad phase of her life. Um, and she just really demonstrated like a side of her that I don't think like I had seen before.
True. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because yeah, I think Shiva Baby was like her first. I don't know if it was like her first ever role, but it was like her first like main bigger role.
Yeah.
And and then like she was just kind of like in like bodies, and then she was in Bottoms, And
Oh,
like
right.
she kind of like plays really good like uh comedy characters, like comedic characters, and she because she has like good comedic timing. I think she actually does stand-up comedy like outside of movies.
I think so.
But yeah, I like that she like gave us like a whole other side to her like acting and like pushed the limits of like what she can do, I guess. Her range.
Quick side note, the fact that we haven't talked about bottoms on this podcast yet is like genuinely chilling and is the funniest comedy I've seen since Dick's the Musical.
Right.
Anyway.
Should we talk about that?
Yes, we should. Um, but anyway. Yeah, like what else is there to say? Like the I think truly
Yeah.
like the script is the highlight for me. I think it's
Right.
the directorial debut from
Uh Ali, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Ali Panku?
yeah, good job, Allie.
Yeah, and she was the director of a part in Black Mirror.
Whatever. Okay,
But
which
yeah.
episode? Which episode?
The one from the
Depends.
last season, Joan is Awful, the one where they're like
Oh,
parroting Netflix.
okay, okay, yeah, okay. I see your game. We're fans, Allie.
Right. But yeah, I thought this one actually did show the range of that as well. 'Cause like it, I don't know. Oh wow, wait. Oh wait, no, never mind. Sorry, I was on the wrong thing. Yeah, I'm trying to see if she wrote this. Did she write it?
IDK.
Or, oh yeah, she did write the movie too, so that was good. So like she's like a like she's kind of showing her range as well, like directing and writing this like emotional dramedy, like drama movie that's like also kind of like a comedy, but like not really. It's not full comedy,
Yeah,
even though I thought it
it's
was
not a
going to
comedy at
be.
all.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
it's very
there's like some
dismal.
comedic elements. There's like jokes here and there, but it's like more like drama.
Yeah, I guess. No, it's 1000% a drama.
Mhm.
Um, a pretty harrowing one too, that, you know, it might
Yeah.
have like some subject matter that people are like really sensitive to.
Yeah, true.
Um,
Yeah, I guess should we like trigger warning
yeah, I guess.
it? But yeah, um I'm glad that this one finally like came out. And another one that Utopia put out, which is cool. I feel like they're like I feel like A24 is kind of like I think they sold like their company to like a some firm or something that's like trying to like expand them from just doing like indie movies. And it feels like to me, Utopia is like kind of the new A24.
That's so profound, and I think you're so right. Because I was gonna say, I think what we've uncovered this episode is we found like the trifecta of like tail end millennial to Gen Z borderline
Right.
storytellers.
Yeah.
Utopia as studio, Rachel Sennott as actress, and Jane, I'm gonna pronounce it Schoenbrun,
Yeah, something
Jane
like that. Yeah.
Schoenbrun as director. Jane's the winner, by
Sorry,
the way.
sorry if we mispronounced your names.
Also, sorry if we didn't mention you. Honorable mention to Justice Smith, as the
Right.
voices of our generation,
Right.
of our specific like age.
Isn't Rachel Sennott like the voice of our generation?
Yeah, that's what I just said. Jane and Rachel Sennett, and then
Oh, right,
Utopia
right,
movies or
yeah.
whatever is like the art house of our generation.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Good job.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. It's good. Go watch it somehow.
Yeah, don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
And thank you, Utopia, for the screener.
Thanks, Utopia. You're the voice of our generation.
Yeah.
They're just
Oh,
like, I'm just like, by the way, this podcast is sponsored by Utopia.
you're right.
It's actually not. It's so
Yeah, it's
not.
not. It's not.
It's not. I was
Um,
joking.
they just gave us the screener because they're very nice. They're taking a chance on our podcasts.
Because they recognize us as the podcast of our generation.
Yeah, honestly.
Which, by the way, if you think about it, we are.
Right. Well, should
I
we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think, I think we absorbed some top tier tail end millennial Gen Z content,
True.
and you should go watch all three of these movies and enjoy all these creators.
True. And my mic will be better next week or next
Yeah,
time we
right.
do it.
Yeah, right. Don't lie.
I won't have this shitty microphone. Right. Well,
Is it shitty because it's mainstream?
I'm about to hang up.
You should have guessed. By the way, this is where we cut because we're about to get in a big fight. We're about to like lose our shit at each other.
Right.